get situated.
Walton County is represented by two representatives, me and Tom Kirby, and I think Tom's going to try to come by. And we got welcome the new Senator Burt Jones.
Hello, how y'all doing today? Good to be here.
Y'all heard enough from me, so Senator Castleton, if you take a minute and just say anything you'd like to say, and then Burt, if you'd be kind enough to make a few remarks, and then we want to leave plenty of time for GMA's got a presentation, because this is the Walton County Municipal Association's monthly deal right now.
Yeah. Well, I just like to welcome everybody to the Capitol. I know you got to walk around some this morning and see both chambers kind of in operation. It's interesting just to look down on the floor and see the different feel from the House and the Senate, because there's so many little ants running around over there. 180 people in the House, so it's very chaotic. But you have closer representation. The people in the House, Bruce and Tom, their districts are about 55,000 people. And so it's fewer people being represented by the same person. In the Senate, there are only 56 senators, and our districts are about 175,000 people each. So most of them are multiple counties, and you have different sort of groups of interest. And so even though you can't come to everything in Walton County, because in my case I'm having to go to Oconee and Clark as well, you know, we're there accessible for you. But you know, we get along great. Our local delegation, Tom and Bruce and I and Burt, and get things done. We work together just really seamlessly to hear your responses, whatever you need to respond to you. And I think you'll find that if you talk to any of us, we'll communicate amongst each other and we'll make sure we get things done. One interesting thing about a bicameral legislature like this is it's got to get through both bodies, and so we have to work together to get a bill passed. You can't just pass it in the Senate, you got to pass it in the House too, and so it takes collaboration between the bodies. And what we find is that's really healthy. To get two viewpoints looking at bills to see whether they have weaknesses or strengths or how you can improve them, that type of thing. We have a lot of little camaraderie and joking, jabbing back and forth between each other, all in good fun sometimes. But we will pass a bill in the Senate, say if it starts in the Senate. We're a very close little club. There are only 56 people, and out of that group, there are 38 that are Republicans, and we're pretty much controlling the agenda, so it's your buddies. It's hard to vote against your buddy's bill, you know, when they come in and they're your friend, and especially when they're going to be voting on yours the next week maybe. So we tend to go easier on ourselves, and then when it gets out of the Senate and gets to the House, they'll barbecue you. You know, they'll ask you a lot of hard questions, and because they're not as close to you as friendly, but it's really healthy to do that. And you need a friend on the Senate side to carry your bill. Like if Bruce passes something from the House, he'll need one of us to get it to the Senate. We do the same thing too, but it's good to have that second look. We tease each other. We say we are perfecting their bills. They come over us in a defective state, and they do the same for us. And really, you know, Bruce could tell you all a story. Last year we passed a bill in the Senate. He said, I can't believe y'all passed that bill. Do you realize these effects? It dealt with the banking industry. I won't go into a lot of details. And I'm like, well, they never said anything in our committees. Nobody objected. Nobody raised any complaints. And the sponsor of it in the Senate was the Rules Committee chairman. Well, the Rules Committee decides what gets voted on the floor. So you think many senators were going to buck his bill? You know, if we had any bills we wanted to get through it, I said, you do realize it was the Rules Committee chairman that had the bill going through, and banking industry never objected to it in our committee process, but once it hit the House, it stopped what could have been a very complicated piece of legislation as it got applied to the real world. So those type of things are really healthy for us. And then of course you've got it at the end of the road, the governor has the right to veto anything that he thinks is inappropriate for any reason, and it would take a 2/3 vote to override him, which rarely happens in this system. But we like the system. I wish you could see a little committee work this afternoon. This is a committee room. It's a House committee room. You can see the members sit up here. The person that comes and presents a bill will stand at this podium, explain their bill, what they're doing, and then they field questions from the committee members on that, and they can amend it and make changes to it to make it right. The public can come and talk and speak for or against the bill, and in my experience, that's really where the work gets done. You know, that's where you're doing your detailed work, examining the bills. Each senator serves on 4 committees. What do y'all have, Bruce? 3 at least in the House? Some get more.
3, and going into the second term, you pick up more responsible committees and you move it up to 4.
Yeah. Well, we are allowed to have 4 committees, and that's that's where you spend your time after the session ends. This morning, you probably saw a lot of just sort of pomp and circumstance, recognizing people. That's because bills have just been filed and they've just been assigned to committees. They haven't passed out of committees yet to get on the floor to be voted on. So we don't have any bills yet to be voted on. So it's pretty rapid. And then we dig into work in the afternoons going to our committees. I'm on appropriations, which deals with the budget, and we've been having hearings already looking at the proposed budget. I'm on the Judiciary Committee, being an attorney, a lot of variety of bills come through that. I'm on the Natural Resources Committee, which is just a passion of mine, hunting and fishing and outdoors things and protecting the environment. So that's a interesting one. And then I'm the chairman of our Higher Education Committee that deals with the university system. So I would only see the bills that come through those committees in great detail. And if something goes through a banking committee or regulated industries or education, for K through 12, I may never see it until it actually gets to the floor. And at that time, I get a chance to examine it and decide whether I'm for or against it. But you have to kind of rely on the people on the committees that have the expertise and have spent the time examining the bill. In our Senate side of the building, our Republican caucus meets every day. That's all the Republican senators. And we'll meet about an hour before the session, and we review every bill on the agenda for that day. And whoever the sponsor or the author of it is in the Senate will stand up and explain the bill to everybody in the room and say, here's what my bill does, what I'm trying to accomplish, why we need it, what opposition to it might be, or whatever. And then we ask them questions. We'll pepper them with questions, things pro or con, and either that author or other people on the committee will explain why it makes sense and we're for it. And we have a little list that gives a summary of each bill, and I go through and put a check if I'm for it, an X if I'm against it, or question mark if I'm not quite sure yet after caucus, and then I'll listen to the debate on the floor and see the questions raised there before I make a final decision. But just to give you a little peace of mind, we're not just going up here voting on things we're not familiar with. Usually you've dealt with it in a committee. If not, we've at least had a thorough discussion in our caucus so we know what we're doing. And the most important thing was to hear from you guys. And, I'm looking around the room. I got a whole bunch of you in my cell phone, and if I don't, you let me know if you need my contact, and you can call me here, you can email me. It helps us do our job to hear from you how it really impacts you. And Marcy and Ashley are great, and Tom, letting us know what's going on, what impacts cities. ACCG also has similar lobbyists that work for them, tell us what impacts on the county level. The worst thing we want to do is pass a bill that has some unintended consequence or put some unfunded mandate on the municipalities without us knowing it. They make sure we know it. They let us know, but it also helps us to hear from you. Joe Chapman's already emailed me on a bill. It's House Bill 1 this year. It's not even over to the Senate side yet, but to be alert for it, what it does on forfeiture actions where the police seize property from criminals, how that might impact local governments. And one senator, one representative, you can't know everything, all the different subject matters, but you guys can help educate us. Let us know if something's being proposed that's going to impact you, or that you might favor it, you might oppose it, but weigh in. And I promise you we'll respond to you, either by phone or an email or something. We're reading it. We're paying attention to what the constituents want to do, because that's the beauty of representative government. I mean, it isn't my seat over there in the 46th district. It is your seat, and you're allowing me to represent your interest. And that's the way I view it. And I think everybody that's elected does that. Our job is just to be the person that votes for you, what we feel like is best for the district. You got to tell us what's good. So that's generally what we do. If you had more time this afternoon, there are some committees meeting, and it's fun that you can come in and just sit in the benches like you're doing right now in any of these committee rooms and just listen to how that process works as somebody presents a bill and the committee members question them, cross-examine them on their bill, what's good or bad about it. And that's how our system of government works. It's really great.
Introduce Bert.
Okay, Bert, come on up. You're next. This is our newest senator, Bert Jones, Jasper County. He represents the southern part of Walton County. You've got Social Circle,
Walnut Grove, in Jersey.
Mm-hmm. And so we'll be working closely together. He has just been elected and has got a lot of potential, bright future. He has great committee assignments, and we'll be working closely together on a lot of things that impact Walton County. Have at them, brother.
All right, appreciate it. It's good to be here, and thank you, Bill. Bill, as usual, did a pretty good job of covering the process. And all I'd like to say is it's good to have Walton County a part of District 25. Like I said, I have the southern tip of it, which is a very important part of it, as I think the mayor would agree, in Social Circle in Walnut Grove, New Jersey. And I'm excited about having it in my district. And as Bill was saying, one of the important things about when you represent a lot of different counties, you really lean on not only your House members but your local elected officials to find out what topics and what issues are going on in your county government. And I think Walton County could be very proud of, or should be very proud of, the representation they have with Tom and Bruce. I think they do an outstanding job, and Bruce has done a great job informing me of all the different issues that are coming down the pipeline. So I know y'all have a time schedule, and I don't want to take up too much of it, but I have an open door policy, and look forward to working with each area of Walton County, but particularly the ones that I represent. And if you have any problems or issues, you can always contact me. I'm very accessible, and look forward to representing you guys. Thank you.
Well, Bert didn't tell you he played ball at the University of Georgia.
I did. Let me give you a little background. I'm in the insurance business, and that's down in Jackson, Georgia. Went to the University of Georgia, played football there. Walked on. Originally later got a scholarship, and I think probably being a former Georgia Bulldog, at least got me 7 to 10% of the vote in District 25. So I don't deny that. So when I was throwing it in everybody's face, I was doing it on purpose. But at any rate, I am just tell you some of the committees I'm on. I'm on higher education that Bill chairs. I'm in insurance because I am in the insurance business, and I'm also on state properties. And I'm very excited about being on those committees, and also regulated industry as well. So very excited about being on those committees. And if you have any issues, you can reach out to me. But particularly if we have issues that are pertaining to those 4 entities, then please don't hesitate to give me a call. So that being said, I'll turn it over to.
I guess Tom's going to take over right now.
Tom, all right. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tom Gale. I'm with the Georgia Municipal Association, and I lead our team's legislative efforts down at the Capitol on your behalf. And I first of all want to say thank you so much for taking the time, especially on a particularly nasty day, to take the time to come to the Capitol and engage in this political process. I really think it is part of your duty as officials with the cities in Walton County to come down here and make sure that your elected representatives know what your concerns would be, and to basically reach out and engage with this process. You all serve not for yourselves but for others, and I think that's indicative of what the entire state of Georgia's history is about. As you all probably know, ingrained in Georgia's colonial seal is the motto, not for ourselves but for others. And I heard earlier that Secretary of State Brian Kemp had a chance to talk with you all. If you have a chance to go back over there, you can see the old colonial seal in his office, and that motto right there, which reminds all of us down here that we're doing this for others, and you as public service servants certainly know that and are representing that sentiment today. Y'all are very lucky to have these folks down here serving you. Of course, Representative Kirby's not able to be here, but Senator Calzert and Senator Jones are doing a great job for y'all. Representative Williamson, he is relatively new to the Capitol, but he's already got a lot of leadership and important committees assigned to him because of his leadership abilities. He serves on 4 committees that are very important to local governments. He's on the Ways and Means Committee, the Governmental Affairs Committee, which is very important to us, banking, which we often deal with, particularly in these issues related to foreclosed homes and that kind of thing, and also insurance. We, as many of you know, you might participate in Georgia Municipal Association's insurance program. So. And if you don't, be glad to talk with you about those after the meeting. So y'all are lucky to have these folks representing you, and I know that they're appreciative of you all being here today. I want to briefly talk about the Georgia Downtown Renaissance Act. I think Kwame had a chance to pass this out to you. This proposal was introduced Monday, formally introduced Monday, and given the bill number House Bill 128. It was sponsored by Representative Alan Peake, but we are lucky to have 83 House members already signed on to the bill. It's House Bill 128. It'll probably be assigned to a Ways and Means subcommittee this coming week, probably next week, and they're going to begin to look at it to see if there's any issues that arise, changes that may need to be made. But the proposal is fairly simple. There are a lot of tax breaks that are given for good reasons down here at the state capitol. There are tax breaks that are given to incentivize certain types of industry, certain types of public sectors, jobs, job creation, etc. This particular proposal is a tax incentive to private sector investment in downtowns all over the state, and we're really enthusiastic about it because it is a tax incentive that has the potential to touch every town, city across this state. And so we're real enthusiastic about it, and hope to have a hearing in Ways and Means in the foreseeable future, probably in the next few weeks. We have information on our website about it. We will probably be keeping you aware of it through the alerts and through our legislative tracking. If you're not on those particular listservs and email lists, let us know. We'll be glad to sign you up. But with that, I need to also mention we have occasionally deputized one of your ex-compatriots, Mr. Jim Burgess. He is such a resource down here at the Capitol as former executive director of GMA, and if I have questions about how things work down here, I go see Jim. But occasionally we put Jim to work on your behalf, even though he's not getting a dime for it. But he's a great colleague to have down here. And with that, I'll see if we can call on Marcy to give us just a brief overview of what's happening with the ethics proposals and what points and issues we may have at GMA. Marcy.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it so much. My job is so much easier if when I go speak with Representative Williamson or Senator Calzert, Senator Jones, and instead of seeing my face, they really are seeing you. So if I can channel all of you, we'll do a lot better up at the Capitol. And visits like this are what make that really happen. There are very few issues that I get more phone calls about from city officials than these ethics disclosures. Over the last couple of years, I know a lot of you have faced significant challenges in getting those forms correctly filed and up to the State Ethics Commission. Probably most of you in this room don't raise or spend any money, or a very, very small amount of money during the course of your campaign, so you ultimately end up filing a lot of forms with zeros on them. And then if something goes wrong with the computer, or something goes wrong with the dates, or there's some confusion about the content of the form, you get slapped with these ridiculous fines from the Ethics Commission. I know that's a huge source of concern for elected officials. You all are trying to do the right thing. Public service, you don't make any money for serving, and you just want to do everything correctly. So fortunately, in the latest version of ethics bills that have come out there, yesterday the Speaker dropped a package that includes relief from all of these filings for city officials. If you don't raise or spend any money, you don't have to file the forms, which is great. If you do raise, or spend money, you do have to file forms, but you'll do it with the clerks instead of up with the Ethics Commission. Makes a lot of sense because your folks, your people, constituents locally are the people who want to see your forms. They shouldn't have to worry about running up to Atlanta or serving an open records request on the State Ethics Commission to get information about a local race. So
we're county clerks we're talking about?
Well, city clerks, it's a qualifying officer. So if you're a county commissioner, you're going to get that information. You're going to file that form with the county clerk. If you're a city officer, you're going to get it from the city clerk. Now that I've talked briefly about ethics, I just do want to mention a cell tower siting bill that I anticipate will drop later this week. And I know that cell tower sightings are one of the most contentious issues that you can face in a city. Nobody wants a cell tower in the middle of the subdivision or placed in the middle of their downtown historic square, yet everybody does want cell coverage. So city officials are put in the situation of balancing getting people the coverage that they need with also not having too terrible of an impact of the cell tower site in a particular area of the city. Right now, cities and counties and cell tower companies have to work together to come up with the appropriate place to site a tower. There's legislation that's going to come out that's going to make it really hard for city officials to have any say at all about where a cell tower is sited. If AT&T wants to come in and put one in a subdivision, the middle smack of the subdivision, under this legislation, the way I last saw a draft, you're not going to be able to stop them. And I think that there's got to be some good balance in place between your authority and ability to zone and their ability to provide good service. And we'll be walking through that process, navigating that over the next couple of weeks. And it's something that I'm probably going to need city officials who are concerned about cell tower sightings to get involved in. It's a tough issue up here at the Capitol. Cell towers are not McDonald's. McDonald's can only go in very specific areas of the cities that are zoned commercial. Cell towers don't have those types of limitations. They get to go where coverage is needed, but there has to be a balance. So watch for that too, please. Any other questions?
Marcia, you might want to mention the water rate.
Yeah, there's a piece of legislation out there that would prohibit cities from charging more on their water rates to customers who live outside of the city limits. I know a lot of cities, I probably have gotten emails from 75 or 100 cities around the state who say, hey, we charge higher rates to customers who live outside of the city limits because it costs us more to provide that service, first of all. And second of all, some of our water systems are funded through general fund transfers, and people inside of the city pay property taxes while customers outside don't. So there's a good, legitimate reason for charging more to customers outside of a city. This bill would prohibit you from doing that. It would have to be the same rate across the board. And I know that y'all are in budget time, many of you now, and want to be able to plan for that and want to be able to make sure that everybody pays their fair share. If you're a city who provides service outside of your city limits and you charge more, come see me. I'm trying to collect good data on that sort of situation.
Is that legislation already been dropped?
It's House Bill 41.
And who dropped it?
Sure. So that's a serious bill.
Is it in committee now?
It's been assigned to the Government Affairs Committee. Representative Williamson? Is he on Government Affairs? I think he is. That bill is going to be heard in Representative Williamson's committee, so y'all are in a very good position to at least be influencing the process. I'm sure he'll be interested to hear what y'all have to say.
As long as they let us charge them property tax, we probably wouldn't have a problem with it, would we?
I mentioned that House Bill 41 is going to be in Government Affairs, so you'll have a role in that.
Thanks for the warning. No, I'm very interested in that. That's just it's an equity issue, you know.
Perfect.
I'm very sympathetic to this GMA's argument.
Thank you. Y'all have done a good job already. Well, no big issues yet in the Senate. So Senator Cowser and Senator Jones are still off the hook. I'm sure we'll find something.
It's early yet. The sausage is not made.
Not yet. But you have a great delegation. I love working with your folks. I'm always excited when I get to go see one of them. So thank you for sending them up here to Atlanta, and please keep sending them back. And please let me know if I can ever do anything for you.
Thank you. But no, I'm Tom Kirby. I represent West Walton from between over to the county line, basically. I also have part of Barrett County, Gwinnett County, and Rockdale County in District 114. I am the Secretary of the Human Resource Aging Committee. I'm Secretary of the Industry and Labor Committee. I'm also on the Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee and also on the Small Business Development Committee. So I've got 4 committees that I serve on this time, representing the good people in Walton County. I live in Loganville area, outside the city limits, but out in the county. And it's been pretty eventful so far. We've got a lot going on, a lot of activity very early in this session, and I think it's going to be a very productive session and things that we're very receptive to what the constituents are talking about. Yeah, that House Bill 35 is one that we're just a co-sponsor of, you know, and like I told them, what I'm about, that's a good example, is giving you options. We're not here to tell you how to run your city or your county any more than we want Washington to tell us how to run the state. You know, but we need to give you the resources that you need to make your decisions, give you the choices, not us dictating to you. You know, that House bill on allowing administrators doesn't make them do anything. Right now they could have anybody authorized to carry in a school under Georgia law. But it allows them the choice if they so want to and they think it fits. The other thing is, I'm saying, and that one is, if they're going to do it for an administrator, they need to be trained and qualified just like law enforcement, so they actually know what they're doing to keep safety first. But for your city issues, your county issues, we're going to be looking at the same things. What's giving you the choice, that the resources you need to run your city, to run the county, and make the best choices for your citizens? That's what we're here to do and advocate for you. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
House Bill 41, have you signed on for that?
I have not, but tell me by, I don't know them all by number
I
yet.
believe that's the Renaissance Act, Downtown Renaissance Act.
No, that's House Bill 128.
128, sorry.
I was going to, but I understand now, and Peak's already dropped it.
Yeah, but you can still go by and sign.
Okay.
Still
But
go
yeah,
by and sign.
I'm in favor, I like the Renaissance Act. I haven't had a chance to catch up with Al and get my name on it. So, any other questions? No? All right, it's easy. Who's got the floor? Hal? Hey, Mr. Mayor?
I think this has got us pretty much wrapped up in case anybody else had anything they want to say now while we have them captive here.
Everyone needs to slide over.
Slide over.
No one's behind the call. Yeah, that's got it.